Welcome to a new episode of Short Comic Introduction. A fair warning before we start this episode, the comic I want to talk about today has some mature and adult content in it, and it's definitely one I would say is not safe for work. Even the artist himself says that the comic can be rated somewhere between PG-13 and an R rating. Just a heads up, if you're someone who doesn't like this, then I would say skip this one, but if you don't have a problem with it, let's take a look at The Monster Under the Bed from Brendan Shane. The comic itself started in November 2014 and updates once a week, at the moment mostly on weekends, and tells a story about the boy Timothy and his kind of monster girlfriend, Shadow. And I'm honest here, I just found this comic over the top webcomic list and only clicked on the banner because the title sounded interesting and the banners looked very different than the other ones. It's mostly, let's say it was so dark and in the same way colorful that it just stood out from the other ones that I clicked it. After that, I have to admit, it took me some tries to get over the introduction pages from chapter 0. The problem for me, it looked a little bit, or it felt a little bit rough and rocky at the first start, and it, like I said, it took me 2-3 times to get over these pages, and after that it went way better than I expected. And this is just a warning to the people who may think after the same pages that, or they feel after at the starting pages that this one maybe not on their or not a comic they might enjoy. Give it a try and at least start the first chapter just to get a feeling how the comic will work out. Like I said, I can kick myself that I didn't keep reading, and I am so glad I tried it out another time. And yeah, definitely check it out if you have the, or let's say continue, even if you have the feeling that the start doesn't work for you. It gets a lot better after that. Like I said, the story at first glance it might look like something very simple. And I have to say it is kind of simple. It starts like some kind of slice of life comic where yeah, a boy meets a girl. In this case, it's a boy who meets a girl monster, or a female monster, and how they meet, I think, is very creative to get to characters meet because of some missing socks. It's a clever thing, and it's definitely something that wasn't done before. I mean, there are stories about missing socks, but I think in this case it's something very unique, and it's really funny when they first meet. I think the whole first chapter where when they really first meet, when he tries to trap the person or the creature who steals his socks, is really the way these two characters work off each other is really done in a really fantastic way. I really start liking them from the beginning. I mean, the beginning from the first chapter, because they really work great together, and having also some of the other characters that come, beginning from Timothy's parents to all the friends from Shadow. It's a very interesting read, and I like how slow everything goes. Yeah, some people may not enjoy it that way, but I think it works great because we really get to know these characters, and I think we will get surprised how, or let's say how this the story will go, just from what we got teased in the third chapter. There will be a lot more that's coming, but for the beginning, I think it was a good idea to make it more character orientated and give a little bit more backstory about some things that are happening, because it's an interesting let's say it this way. When a story starts and specific characters are mentioned the first time or they appear the first time, we immediately want to know about them more. And even if specific things happen, we immediately get some connections between specific parts of the story, and that's what makes a great writer. If a writer can get your head working because you just seen a specific or you just get a glimpse of a character or some specific details, and you immediately think about something else. It's something not many, or I haven't seen many authors are able to do. Yes, most they bring the connection on the next pages, but bring just or don't talk about these things and leaving them for chapters to come, and you always think about these points. Really, that makes a great, or let's say it this way, the author is really great in writing these stories. So I would say Brandon it's a fantastic writer in this case. Um, and like I said, there's a lot. One other thing I think many people might not enjoy that much, but I think works with the way the story is pacing. We mostly see them in a very limited place, so meaning most of the first parts of the story, or the story we have read until this point, um, are playing in the room of Timothy when he and Shadow meet, and they really mostly just talk about what they have done, about their worlds, what's going on around them, and it's it's kind of two friends are sitting together and just talking how their day was. And like I said, I really like this the way, because we get to first we have really two different worlds, and every they the way both want to know more about each other, and don't mean each other as a person, but also how they live, how their work, and how their worlds work in this case. And it's really great. And also we see some glimpse how they get a little bit more from each other in the third chapter, Halloween chapter. I won't talk too much about it, but let's just say it's a very interesting way how Shadow reacts on Halloween. Just to let you know, it's very cleverly done, and it's really funny. Definitive one, I would say. From the story standpoint at the moment, I really can't say anything bad. I really appreciate the way the characters are written, and if you're a fan of good written characters, definitely check this out. Even like I said, the mature or adult content parts, but don't be worried. There aren't the main focus on this story. It's definitely the rest of the characters and the story itself. It's not the major content. So just before you fear something like that. Yeah, and like I said, this was a very pleasant surprise for me. About the art, that's another part I think is making this comic stand out. I like how he was able to create a very dark comic with a very comical design. I just want to show you a page so you can have an idea what I mean. I don't think the darkness comes across really great on the camera, but it's interesting. Like I said, it's interesting. Normally, if you see you see these very bright and colorful, cartoony-like characters, it's not often you see them in a very dark spot. And because this whole comic mostly plays in the evening times or in a dark realm, everything is really dark. But the way he's done it, is the colors still work. The lighting isn't too extreme. Like I said, it's hard to explain in many cases, but he has done a great job to focus on the characters in a dark scenario, but making them really cartoony like, but also very funny, and like I said, dark in some cases. Like I said, if we see the monster realm, you know what I mean. And all the the different characters. It's also something I have to say is really done great. We have a lot of characters, and we have a lot of main characters, but we don't have clones of each other. So every character looks really different. There's just one character you might think has some similarities, but I don't know if that's story-wise or if there's something else behind it. But like I said, that's what I meant with we will see characters that you want more to know more about them when they start appearing, and yeah, it's definitely the art is very interesting. I like it. It's not my absolute favorite art type of art, but it's one I really appreciate the way it's done, and it's definitely one of my more liked ones. I would say it's in my favorite art styles in it, but like I said, not my absolute favorite ones. So yeah, what's my end verdict? I would say definitely check it out. It has a lot going for it. Definitely check it out if you're a character fan. If you like characters that start a little bit flat, but you grow they grow on you because the longer they're on screen, the more you want to know about them, the more deeper they get. And if you definitely want something with a more different storyline than everything else, it's definitely one I would recommend in so many ways. Like I said, the only thing you have to look out is that, like I said so many times now, there is mature and adult content, and it's definitely one not safe for work. If you want to support support Brandon Shane, he has a Patreon account. I will leave the link down below. And as always, support him. If you can't support him with money, then just leave comments under his pages. Talk about the comic. It's something all artists appreciate. And yeah, that's for this time. See you in the next episode. And thanks for watching.